Good afternoon or good morning whenever you're watching this. You know who I am by now, the DOUG here for his Wild Water Sports episode 2. We're going to be talking about some basketball, some college football, some NASCAR. I know someone's going to be like, well, why are you not talking about golf or soccer or tennis? Because I know nothing about that sport. I'm staying away. But first, let's talk about hockey. Yeah, there's probably not going to be no season. So moving on, basketball. Everything's looking pretty good right now, depending on who you're cheering for. I would love to say congratulations to the Detroit Pistons. Last week, as many of you recall, my Wild Water Sports, I said they were one of the two worst teams who did not win a game. But now, lo and behold, they've won two. One over the Philadelphia 76ers, which, granted, that's not a... which was back November 14th. Which is 76ers, but I'm surprised they beat the Boston Celtics. That's a surprise to me, but it's either near nor there. Unfortunately, the NBA still has the worst team right now in the Eastern Conference, in the Washington Wizards, who are 0-9. Wow, that's pretty sad. To me. Now, we also don't have an undefeated team anymore, as the Brooklyn Nets finally did lose a game. The New York Knicks also lost a game as well to the Memphis Grizzlies as well. So interesting on that. Yeah, Washington, your next chance to win is Wednesday against the Atlanta Hawks, and I don't think you're winning that, folks. So moving on. But before I go, I would like to say right now, I think the most surprising team out of the gate so far, at least to me, is Memphis. I mean, did anyone really see them going 8-1? I'm gonna be honest, I did not. So Memphis, I tip my hat to you and say you're shocking the world right now, which is something I don't think anyone predicted. Now, NASCAR, we have a new champion. It is Brad Keselowski. He finally won the Sprint Cup title. I say congratulations to the man. It's his first title. Best thing is Jimmy Johnson did not win it. So I'm so happy for that. But the question is, can he defend it? He isn't, because now he's the defending champ, and like I've always said, it's easier to be champion than to stay champion. Because now he's going to be instead of being the hunter, he's going to be the hunted. But to see what he can do when the next season starts. Now let's get to college football. Before we get to Saturday, it was announced today that the Maryland Terrapins will be playing in the Big Ten in 2014. So they will not be in the ACC anymore, which is kind of sad because they've been in the ACC for a long, long time. And also a source predicts Rutgers to do the same tomorrow. If that is the case, that's two teams going that I'm not surprised of, just because of the fact of that's just me. Also a source, Boise State, SDSU, BYU will talk with the MWC. So a lot of shaking and moving going on. Now, also, this was announced, I believe, yesterday. This is the Saturday's game against #1 Notre Dame. USC quarterback Barkley will be out. So that gives Notre Dame a more favorable chance to stay at #1 and go to the BCS title game. Speaking of that, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish jumped from 3rd to 1 after a surprising week with Oregon and Kansas State both losing. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Oregon, you lost to a good Stanford team. There's nothing wrong with that. However, Kansas State, what in God's name were you thinking? You lost to a terrible Baylor team, a team who was previously, okay, and I have to use this word, previously, believe it or not, and then this may surprise everyone, only had one conference win before this. Okay? And I gotta say, as far as I'm concerned, Kansas State, your quarterback is not winning the Heisman Trophy now, and there is no possibility for you guys to get into the BCS title game. You're done. You may get into a Rose Bowl, but you're not going to play for the big title. You needed to win out. That didn't happen. So sorry. As for Oregon, I know a lot of people still believe Oregon can get in, but I think they need help big time. They're going to need a lot of help. I don't know if that's going to happen. But you lost to a good Stanford team. Nothing wrong with that. Stanford's been a good team this year. Their ranking may not show it. I mean, because now they're 8th, and hey, that's an improvement. But let's talk about the teams who could go to the BCS title. Let's talk about Notre Dame. All they have to do is win this Saturday, beat the Trojans, they're in, and they go from, I think, for a lot of people to even have them having a winning season to they're playing for the title. They're going to dance with the lights on bright. But the question is, if they do win, who do they face? Well, we know Alabama and Georgia are 2nd and 3rd. So, smart money's on one of those two. I mean, Florida could get in, but they would need, which ain't going to happen. I know Florida's like, oh, we can make it. I'm telling you now, Florida Gators, the only way you make it in, you're going to have Notre Dame lose, and then you're going to have to either have Alabama or Georgia lose, and you're going to have to win. And depending on what happens with the Ducks, there's the other wild card in this. So as far as I'm concerned, the Ducks should be in front of Florida, but that's me. So if Notre Dame, if they do it smart, they don't play stupid, they advance, and most likely will be playing in Miami with a win. A lose, you fall back big time, because I think that's what everybody wants who's not a Notre Dame fan. They want them to fall hard. Now, I don't want that because I'm a Fighting Irish fan. So, and there's a lot of speculation on who they would play. I would feel more comfortable playing against the Bulldogs. If we play Alabama, I think if Notre Dame plays Alabama, I think Notre Dame's defense will keep them in the game. But I don't think with Notre Dame's offense, it has been improving. I don't think Notre Dame could beat an Alabama. Offensively, they couldn't. Defensively, Notre Dame's got one of the best. But offensively, it's a little weak. So it really depends on what happens there. If Notre Dame somehow does beat Alabama, if they face each other in the BCS title game, I think it would be the biggest shock in history. Now, of course, let's talk about the flip side. If Notre Dame does lose, most likely it's going to be 2 SEC teams going in. Most likely the winner of the Alabama-Georgia title game and Florida. Now, I think if that happens, there's going to be a lot of college fans pissed because I think a lot of people are getting tired of seeing the SEC in this picture. They have one of the best conferences. They have a lot of great teams. But I think people are just sick of it. But that's my opinion. I think people are just sick of seeing I can't believe I'm using this term for wrestling, the same old shit. But that is just how I feel about it. Many of you may agree with me. Many of you may disagree with me, but that's why we love sports. It creates argument. It creates interesting talk. That's why we love it. Now, of course, at the end of the day, it also comes down to, as far as I'm concerned, who they play. We know Alabama and Georgia will most likely play in the SEC title game. So we'll just talk about Notre Dame. Hey, you beat Trojans, you're in. I mean, and the way you played against Wake Forest, that's good. And by the way, you can catch that. Notre Dame is going to California for this one. You can watch that on ABC at 8 o'clock. Should be an interesting matchup and could decide the future of everybody. Now, Alabama, you're most likely playing Georgia. You know that, depending what happens this weekend with the Bulldogs. Because here's the interesting thing. If the Bulldogs do lose to Georgia Tech and Florida, and I'm saying this now, and depending on what I believe Florida would get it, I think. I might be wrong on this. And I'm saying I might be wrong just because I might be, I admit I'm usually wrong. I know when to eat crow, so to speak. But, yeah, Florida Gators I'm going to be watching this weekend as well because they play Florida State on ABC 3:30. They're going to be watching or at least having an ear to the Georgia Tech game. And they might even have an ear at least to the Auburn game on Saturday. Simply because of the fact of, if, heaven forbid, if Alabama loses and Georgia Bulldogs loses this week and Florida wins, you gotta put in talk. Florida deserves a shot at the BCS title game. But, here's my thing now. If you take a look at Alabama's most likely going to be representing the SEC standings in the West because LSU cannot, I don't believe, catch them depending what happens. Unless Alabama loses, which who knows what the hell is going to happen there, folks. But LSU, I'm sorry. I mean, granted, I would love to see Texas A&M do it, but that ain't going to happen. So keep an eye on Georgia, the Bulldogs, the Florida Gators, and the Alabama game. Those are going to be interesting. Now, if you're the Trojans, your your whole thing's done. Because you can't win the Pac-12, so you know you're not gonna move anywhere from where you are now. I mean, you're not even in the ranked anymore. Okay, that's how bad it is. You're not ranked anymore. That's how bad it is. You're not ranked. That is how bad you guys got this year. You're not ranked. Okay? As a matter of fact, you're not even on the top 25. Now, I will say this, going back to the top 20, I think a team that surprised everyone this year is Texas A&M. I think they're going to be a team to watch next year. I think Clemson's going to want to keep an eye on when they play a bowl game. Texas, they started out bad, but they're going to end on a good note. And UCLA, wow. UCLA, I didn't even know they had a football team. I'm kidding, I know they did. So, yeah. But mostly to keep your game, the only thing you should keep your eyes on this week, if you're looking towards the BCS title game this weekend, is the Notre Dame Trojan game, Alabama's game at Auburn, the Georgia Bulldogs game, and Florida versus Florida State, which is a rivalry game. Should be interesting. Now, Ducks, I know I'm not talking about you yet, but Kansas City State, I want to get to the Wildcats. You're not moving up. You would have to hope to God Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Oregon lose. I'm telling you, I don't think that's going to happen. So sorry, Kansas, you're not making it. Deal with it. But Oregon, you have an interesting chance of redemption. All you have to do is beat Oregon State, then win the Pac-12 championship, which will be against UCLA. Should be an interesting stretch down the road to see who gets that number 2 spot. Because I already believe Notre Dame's got it locked up with automatically, unless they blow it. But that's how I see it. So until I see you tomorrow for NFL Week 12 picks, which, by the way, damn you, Chicago. I admit I'm leaning clear on this when I picked them because I thought they had the better backup quarterback in Jason Campbell. Well, yeah, I was wrong. So I'll see you next week. Well, not next week. I'll see you tomorrow for NFL Week 12 picks. And if you don't watch tomorrow, and if you're watching this, I wish you a happy early Thanksgiving. Enjoy Black Friday because I'm not leaving the house. I'm watching college football, baby. So till next time, I am out. Woo!